I was never not cooking. I can't remember not cooking. I was a curious kid, and I had tons of questions from my grandmother, who did a lot of the cooking. And she never wanted to talk about her life in Jamaica, and all I wanted to hear about was her life in Jamaica. But sometimes if I stuck around long enough and I was persistent while she was making dinner, I'd get a few answers. So I'd chop a little of this or turn that off. And then as she got older and my mother worked, you know, maybe I would get dinner going. So it was never not cooking. I am the granddaughter of 4 Jamaican immigrants. They all came to this country in the 20s. So it was the earlier influx of West Indians. My parents were born here. I was born here. And rice and peas were like the main food that I grew up associating with back home, as my grandparents would say. And I grew up in Long Island. My grandparents all first settled in Harlem, in the Bronx, and then, like everybody else in the 50s, they wanted to go to the suburbs, which is where my sisters and I were raised, and my maternal grandmother went with us. And I think about how, you know, she was like, there's no people here, where are the streets? She became a real city girl. And so she's out there in Long Island, and you can't quite get the ingredients so easily. When we made rice and peas, there was never any scallions, there was never any thyme, but there was coconut. You'd get we'd have these brown coconuts in the kitchen, and she'd open it up with a hammer and grate it, because coconut is an essential part. But the beans that they always talked about that they could never find were gunga peas or pigeon peas. So the replacement, though not entirely replacement, because people use black-eyed peas, were black-eyed peas. And I think why that was such a good replacement is that we grew up in Hempstead, which was all black at the time, mostly Southern black. My grandmother was the only person with an accent. She'd sit on the front stoop with a big straw hat on, and my mother said, why are you sitting out front, sit in the back? And so these black-eyed peas became like almost an ambassador, because I come from a family that always entertains, always having parties, not like fancy China parties, but, you know, lay out all the food on the table, and there would be these rice and peas, but they would be familiar because they had black-eyed peas. And so as I'm a cook and I do recipes and I'm trying to figure out how to get things interesting to people, and one of my favorite cookbooks is the Dame DeLuise cookbooks, of all things. Very plain, simple, straightforward Italian food. It's pasta fagioli, this ditalini and bean dish, and I thought, I can do black-eyed peas with that. Olive oil, a lot of garlic, 1 can of tomato sauce, 1 can of water, let that simmer. Throw in a can of black-eyed peas, because I'm making it easy. Of course, you could use your fresh peas, God bless you. Then add about a ½ pound of ditalini, some hot pepper, salt and pepper, cheese, parsley, done.
And what do you call it?
It's technically pasta fagioli, but that does not roll off my tongue very easily. You know, I'm like, it's the black-eyed pea thing.